Well, welcome back, Gansors Garage. That's me. I am he. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, I am still alive. Well, maybe ladies. It is 2024. Who knows? Anyway, got no excuses. I've been busy. Real busy. The job titles changed. Anyway, no excuses. No excuses. Got burned out. It happens. Anywho, we're gonna maybe try this again. I've been working a night shift, and well, night shift kind of sucks. So, but it gives me the opportunity to work during the mornings if I can wake up. Anyway, as for everything we've been working on, it's still here. Haven't done anything with it since the last time I did something with it. It runs. It can drive. The brakes have been redone, which I didn't show you. The heater box got rebuilt because it's, I think, brand new. I don't remember. Got a whole bunch of pieces, parts for the inside, new felts and all that other good stuff for the doors and windows. The headliner needs removed. Got some gauges and some stuff. And anyway, there's that. But also, hi dog, there's been some work done on this as well. This is my 93 Mark 8. And we well, let's start from the beginning. It split a fuel line when I was driving it, and I couldn't find a repair kit, whatever, plastic. It's a plastic hose that goes across the top of the intake, and well, plastic and heat does, and Arizona doesn't do well with heat. So anyway, I thought in my infinite wisdom that, we'll just take the time and Cobra swap it. Well, in doing so, made a whole lot of work for myself, which in typical fashion leads to things getting set on the back burner and or collecting parts. And hold please. Anyway, now we're here. So I gathered a whole bunch of parts and started doing a whole bunch of stuff. This, which is under there and is part of this, is a 96 or 7 Cobra intake. I swapped my intake out with this, and just recently I've been working on it, but also I was doing the brakes all the way around, because if you're gonna go not faster, might as well stop better, right? So they have you can buy the hubs, which are straight bolt-ons from a Ford Mustang. So I did a hub swap. They unbolt. You take this nut off, it comes right out. Anyway, I believe they are 2000 or 2000 up to 2003 Cobra front brakes. These are like, I don't remember, 13 or 14 inch versus the previous 11 inch. Then we did Cobra calipers, 2-piston, pretty nice. And then I was perusing the old Facebook, and actually the guy that sold me the intake had these Cobra wheels. These are, I don't believe they're factory. They're kind of rough shape. They're peeling back here. But they hold air and they spin. So anyway, older tires. Don't look at the cracking. I didn't see anything. You didn't see anything. As for the rear, we went with bigger rotors. But you keep the factory Mark 8 caliper because it is a better caliper, and you just buy a adapter piece, which I don't know if you can see that. Let me nope, not really well. Anyway, there's a little spacer that you can buy and it shifts the caliper up and out. And then we got I ordered yellow stuff pads. They didn't have them, so I got red stuff. If I remember right, these are 10.5 wide 17s, so we can fit 315 35 17s on this bad boy. Now, if you look at this line right here, that's from this, because the airbags are aired out, and I had to move it from the front yard to the backyard. And yeah, anyway, we put it on rollers and rolled it back here, but it sets down on top of these. So as you can see, they kind of hang out just a touch. That'll be fun. But on a positive note, it clears everything. Not by much. I did have to move the park brake cable out of the way, but you can fit 315s on a 10.5 wide. Anyway, if I remember what the guy said, these are 9 wides, and they're like 275. Yeah, 275 40s. So hopefully that clears everything. It got brand new uppers and lowers and sway bar end links because they were all shot. The, what do you even call those? The torsion bars? Not torsion bars. Maybe they are torsion bars. Anyway, everything in the front got brand new stuff. Also, while we were at it, and dropped the front sub frame out of this thing and held it up, and those, which you can barely see, are a set of 3/4 length Cook's headers, which I haven't finished the exhaust system yet, but we're working on that. I haven't, like I said, had a whole lot of time or motivation to work on anything. But currently you can see that side. That's the extension coming out, so we're going to need to lob that off and kind of curve it and follow that out. But yep, can't see nothing. Perfect. Oh, you can barely see it. There they are. Anywho, I have a J-modded valve body with some other upgrades, I believe, to go into the transmission. I need to order a stall converter because, as you can see from just sitting here, it's leaking. Front pump seal's leaking, which I should take care of that because it makes a mess. ATF everywhere. I did reseal the oil pan gasket while I was in there, but I believe the rear main is also leaking. Anyway, so if we're in there, we might as well. Anywho, as for the exhaust, you can kind of see my reflection. That doesn't help anything. This was, I don't remember what the name of the True Bends 2.5 inch all the way out with an X pipe, and I have some cherry bombs, believe that or not. I believe they're cherry bomb salute. Anywho, that's what's gonna run in here. And then I got some turn downs. I did have some like big chrome megaphone looking things, but I don't know if those are gonna work, so we'll figure all that out when we get there. As for today, let's see. We have, I wasn't sure I had all the hardware for all of these things, so I went on ahead and bought hardware from a company, and I thought it was not gonna work because like this one and that one should have a stud on it, or had a stud on it, and I was like, well, that's where the fuel rail mounts, but that's not where the fuel rail mounts. The fuel rail mounts down in here. So anyway, we ended up actually replacing all that. Now, here's the tricky part. This is a Mark 8 alternator. The Mark 8 alternator bracket, because I have the early model, the first gen, doesn't fit. And instead of cutting mine up and trying to make it work, we go online and buy a Cobra alternator bracket. So hopefully that shows up in a couple days. I tell you, this thing's just been nickel and diming me to death. So anyway, the old Mark 8 bracket would have been on these here, but they've got spacers from the old intake, so that would have put my bracket like way up here, and that obviously is not the correct plane. So we get the correct bracket, take this bolt out, put the bracket in, put everything back in. So spacers are what was shipped with this intake bolt kit. Anyway, we're making progress. This is because this harness needs to get rolled this away because it's not going to fit over top of that. I believe this is my idle air control. That's going to need trimmed, maybe, to reach this, which will be up in front. Actually, that might just kind of right there. The one that I will need to trim is not that one. It's also not that one. It's not that. Where is the one that I need to trim? Oh, yeah, threw it over this way. This one, which is the throttle body, or throttle position sensor, that's what needs to go there. Definitely having more issues, I suppose, than most would, because this is I'm pointing, but you're looking at my face. This throttle body, the one that throttle position sensor, sorry, this is the one actually off of mine, because the other one I ordered was a different clip, and I don't really feel like trying to figure out which wires do what. I'm sure it's simple. I'm just gonna stay with factory wiring and all that. Anyway, I will need to change this one out. I have the IAC off the old intake, but I was having issues with idle, so that's getting replaced. Anyway, this intake came with this throttle body. It's a AccuFab single blade, big old mamma jamma. I had to do the cutting of that middle piece in there. If anybody else knows what a regular Cobra intake looks like, I had to cut that out to make this work. Also, I'm not sure if this is going to work or not, because this had to be upside down to make all of this work over here. We'll see. We shall see. Anywho, in the process, I have been told these won't clear this hood because there's not enough of a bump but I've also been told that you can trim. I would imagine this piece here is going to need to get trimmed a little, and it's fiberglass, so we'll see how that works. The intake runners, IMRCs, those back there are the Cobra IMRCs. And the guy previous to me took, man, I don't know if you can even see that. Oh yes, you can, right there. That little bolt right there is actually welded to the bracket, holding them wide open. So I have been told that that kills my bottom end power up to about 3,000 RPM where they would normally open. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, excuse me. If need be, maybe we'll put my old IMRCs in there. I broke part of the solenoid for it accidentally, obviously. I wouldn't intentionally break that. Anyway, yeah. So, fuel lines, because nothing bolts right up, because why would it? We had to come up with some adapters, as opposed to, these are the old factory fuel lines that would have been on here. Matter of fact, those are the ones that came off of there. They came up and were turned to about here, where the old fuel rail was. So, adapters to an 8N to a 8AN to a 6AN. And then the return line is a 6AN. And I had the extra clamps, so I figured I'd just double down on them. I'm sure one would have worked, but I've got them, so use them. This is 3/8 fuel line. And then I just ran it down into here, and you need a adapter to go onto your fuel filter, and a 6AN fitting. Then this is the return line with another adapter, more smaller. This one was more bigger, and a 6AN fitting. I used all Evil Energy. Oh, hang on, upside down. You guys can't hardly read that, but Evil Energy hose fittings. I don't remember where those adapters came from, but I believe the others were all Evil Energy. I've used their stuff before. I like it. It's cheap. You can get it on Amazon. It's at your door the next day. So, while I love the Earl's fittings, they are stupid expensive. Great. They're incredible, but it's kind of expensive. So anyway, these are push lock fittings for hose, as opposed to dealing with the stainless fuel lines that like to cut your hands up when you're working with them, even if you wrap them in electrical tape to cut them, and I didn't feel like playing with that. So anyway, we did all that stuff. So I guess that's updates for you. Oh, the truck, which I don't even think I showed on the channel. There's back shots of it. Forgive the mess that I've got going on here. The neighbor's palm tree likes to drop all of its palms right in my yard. 92 Ford F350 7.3 diesel IDI. We did a rear disc brake swap many years ago. Was a early CP Addicts kit before I knew what they were or who they were. That was when I was first putting that truck together as a youngster. Anyway, it always seemed like it was just braking on the front set of brakes, and the rear disc never really worked, and there have been a couple times where I had to panic stop, and doesn't work real well. Locks the fronts up and doesn't do nothing with the rear. Anywho, we did a hydro boost swap, which I believe I filmed all that stuff. We got a hydro booster out of a 99 Ford Power Stroke. Same with the Master, because they're disc front and rear. Bought all the steering lines, which I followed one person's recommendations online, and that led me to the wrong steering lines. So I bought different steering lines, and I don't remember, I think I showed the part numbers for them. Anyway, we did a full hydro boost swap on that. You do need to notch, I believe it was the upper holes for the hydro booster to bolt up. It doesn't bolt straight up, as well as the rod between the hydro booster and the brake master reservoir has to get shortened. I don't remember, it was like 3/8 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch. Anyway, you weld that up, cut it, weld it. Brakes work amazingly. Go figure, because you got power steering that's running it. I also replaced the power steering pump because mine was leaking, and you have to have a return line to the reservoir, which Rock Auto had all those parts. You just swap all that stuff out. So anyway, there may or may not be a video of that coming out. I filmed everything. I just, like I said, I got burned out and I didn't want to do none of that stuff. So there's that. Also, I suppose there's a front fender that needs, why is that zoomed in still? Anyway, yeah, front fender for the truck, because I feel like at one point when the neighbors had their tree trimmed, the people that came out and did it smacked the side of my truck with one of their cutting devices, sawzall, whatever they were using. I have no idea, but I don't remember that being there. But also, I had driven it the night before from the folks' place up, and I don't know if I hit anything on the road or not. Who knows? Anyway, it is what it is. We got a new fender. We're going to put that on. So, hopefully I can keep the motivation up, and we'll work on all of the things, because I want to try to get the Cougar ready for winter driving, because, well, it's only got a heater, not air conditioning. And this has air conditioning, but it's got a lot of work. So I'm trying to stay busy on this, get this knocked out. I'll still need to have a tune written for it, but hopefully it can drive. I don't know. I think it'll be kind of cool sitting on airbags. We'll see what it looks like at stock ride height. If I don't like it, maybe we'll drop it down a bunch. The only thing that concerns me is how wide these are. If I hit a big bump, it's gonna come up into my fender. So maybe we look at trying to roll this, but then it'll just be a knife edge down into those. Anyway, whatever. These, surprisingly, will tuck underneath here. I have a picture of it saved on my phone somewhere, but man, I tell you what, when these cars air out, they get low. So anyway, that's not where I want to drive it, because also they're super wide. And anyway, I mean, just look how wide this tire is. 315. That's a tire. This had, let me see, where's the old factory? Factories are somewhere. Anyway, these were supposed to be replacements for those 225/60 16s. We went with 315s. Never claimed to be a smart man. Oh, while we're here, I did find that Tesla wheels are the same bolt pattern as these. This is, what is it, 4.5 by 5 or 5 by 144.3. Typical Mustang bolt pattern. Same as these, actually. New and old Mustang pattern. Same with the Cougar. So I did a thing, and Tesla has the same bolt pattern. Now, it does need spacers. I don't know if you can, oh yeah. The rears, not so much necessarily, but I like them when they're out just a touch more. Don't mind the rubber bands. That's how I bought them. That's not what it's running on. Those are garbage. The fronts are also big spacers, which I'm going to buy longer lug studs just to make sure I'm safe. We're still on factory drums, so you know, 18-inch wheels on factory drums, that's smart. But let's see if we can't, oh yeah, just barely clears. I don't know if you can see that, but it barely clears in there. Anyway, took a little mill work. Oh, we're back looking at my face again. What are you doing up here? Get down in the action. It took me milling this out a little bit in here to make it fit, which, let's look over here. Sorry, squirrel action. I've got all the things going on right now. This was the old exhaust off of the Mark, and I believe it was 2.5 at that point, then split off into 2-inch, which I don't know who in their right mind thought that was a great idea, but my guy that did the exhaust work thought it was great. Anyway, that's gonna get lobbed off, and those are for that eventually. That came off the old 66 Mustang, and we're gonna repurpose it for this, but we're taking those weird, goofy, putting Flobies on there, because why not? Anywho, these are the old 16s off the Mark. 225 60/16s. Not great. This is left side wheels off the Cougar. These are the Tesla wheels, which you can't really see very well. Yeah, they've got these giant holes for big old lug nuts, which I think I've got figured out on how to make that work. Hot. So, in here, we had to take basically this lip out all the way around to make that work. But, other than that, seems to work just fine. Now, we did it down and dirty. It wasn't on a mill or a lathe. I just took the old Milwaukee and put a burr bit on there. The right way to do it? Definitely not. Will it work? Sure. Is it safe? We'll find that out. Maybe I'll have a wheel fall off and beat me down the road. Anywho, I think I've changed my mind on what I originally wanted to do with the Cougar. What I originally wanted to do was do acceleration tests and brake tests and all that stuff with the factory setup, with the 2-barrel and the dinky little air filter and the single snout with the well, here, let's just, please hold. This 2-barrel dinky thing. It's got a brand new air filter in it, so I mean, horsepower, right? Again, I don't remember where I left off with other videos, but it's running. We have a aluminum radiator, which I needed to make a crossover for, because this is technically a radiator for a newer model Mustang, like a Fox body or something, and had to make that. Normally, as you can see here, the outlet of the water pump is on this side and should go down into here. I didn't pay any attention to that, so we had to make a little crossover that runs back behind the crank pulley, which I don't, oh, you can kind of see the silver tubing. Speedway made a universal tubing kit, and so we just kind of cut and modified and made it work. I put the finned aluminum valve covers on, cleaned them up, put brand new gaskets. Also checked everything under here. I believe I put the Felpro blue with the crush washer gaskets in there. Finned aluminum breathers from Speedway. We've done the dual master. All the brakes were fine. We replaced all the slave cylinders. It's kind of silly for me to do all that work just to take all these back off and put disc brakes on, because we have disc brake kit front and rear. But again, I never claimed to be a smart man. So anywho, brand new shocks. I think we're going to leave the front sway bar little until we get into that. I did happen to find a Shelby drop plate kit, so maybe we'll try all this as factory, do the Shelby drop, gusset up some of the internals in here, because those like to buckle and fold and all that, and I would really like to make some horsepower out of this thing. Maybe not necessarily with a 289, but 351, who knows. I think maybe a 390 is a little out of my range, but we'll see what happens. Anywho, I don't remember what else. It's only been like a year since I posted last, and I couldn't remember where my brain was at in the middle of all that. So yeah, here we are. This is still here. Still have it. Still got to take it down and get it registered. So, got a couple months. We'll at least try to make it look a little nicer. I don't know about door panels, if I really want to dig into that. I did have some of the fabric the previous owner had saved, like a whole roll of the fabric. So maybe we'll try to spiff that up just a touch, but we'll get the windows working so it's not scratching everything up. Oh, I remember. We went through and replaced these. I don't know if you can see them in there. These are LED because the factory ones were not working. I remember because when I first got this car, I was like, sweet, I'll just take it down and get it registered now, and couldn't get the turn signals to work and had no idea what I was doing with any of that. So anyway, they sell LED kits, so we did that. I need to finish wiring those in. The front lights will get an upgrade, as well as I think I'm going to go with the electric actuator kits to raise that. Just because they're smoother. I like the way they work. The vacuum's cool, but they're expensive. Vacuum pods they're like $300 or $400 a piece, and I mean, I think these ones are working, but electric works better. And this is not going to stay as a factory car. It's going to be whatever I want it to be, because that's what I want it to be, and it's my car. So if you guys want to do the same, more than welcome to. If you want to do yours factory, I'm sure there's plenty of people that'll show you how to do that. But in the meantime, I believe that is everybody's all caught up on where we're at with things and stuff, and we'll go from there. Trying to remember what other projects I had going on that I might or might not have told you about. There's a 66 Mustang factory GT car. that's in pieces, that's a ways away. We have I believe it was a 94 95 Cobra motor for that, which is just a 302 and nothing super fancy. We might do like an F303 camshaft in it, but it has the comp cam roller rockers, so factory, pretty nice. Got the Ford part number stamped on them and everything. So anyway, we'll look into all that stuff, and it's a T5, so we'll put the car back to a manual, go from there. Anyway, that's the theory. That's what I was thinking of doing, but you know, if this 289 and the Cougar decides it wants to go out, then maybe we'll 302 T5 swap it. Who knows? Also, for all of you people that have issues with getting stuff down inside here, I bought these fancy plastic dealies, and they keep most of the debris and the rain out. They do kind of curl a little in the sun, but can't really help it. But it keeps all of that shenanigans out of there. So anyway, I was a big silly and put brand new wiper blades on here because, you know, I'm silly. Anyway, we had an issue with this sealing, so I went through and siliconed it, at least till we replace the glass. Probably when we do the headliner, front and rear, you know, because you definitely need water down inside to keep the patina going, the rust and whatnot that you didn't know was there. Anyway, this video is getting a little long. I'm sure you guys are going to fast forward through it just to hit all the hot spots. So anyway, that's all I've got. Thanks for sticking around, and hopefully we can get back into the swing of things and get back to doing Gansors Garage things as Gansors Garage does. Have a good one, guys.